Debbie Miller with Move or Improve with Debbie. Thanks for joining me today. If you've listened to any of my podcasts, you know that I specialize in helping people decide whether they should move to another location nearby, or move out of the area, or stay where they are and make improvements to their home so they can age in place. So let's go over some tips that I use to help you decide which plan is best for you. First of all, you want to make a list of what improvements would you like to see in your current home. This may be anything from an updated kitchen, new bathroom, wider doorways, different things that will help you stay safe as you grow older. You'll be making lots of decisions as to what the final area looks like. So it's good to have a project manager to oversee everything, make sure the process goes smoothly. I know when I do projects, there are a number of different vendors to work with, and orders have to be placed, decisions have to be made as to finishes, things like that, and then scheduling the installation, hiring the contractors, so it can feel a little overwhelming. So having a good project manager to oversee everything is a big help. The second thing you want to look at is, does your home have good bones? That means, are there any detrimental issues that could contribute to the cost of a renovation? So there could be structural issues, there could be deferred maintenance, I call it, issues. You might need to bring in a structural engineer or some specialist to help you in your decision making. And I know I work with a lot of hoarders and people who like to accumulate things, and it's very hard to go into a home where the owner has a lot of stuff sitting around, because we can't really see moisture, mold, other issues that may have accumulated over time. And so that makes it difficult, but we need to know that your structure is sound. In other words, if you're going to add a second story to have guests stay up there while you remain on the first floor with an expanded bedroom, you need to make sure that the structure of the house can support that. These are just things that we do when we're doing our preliminary analysis. Third, you want to check with what homes in your area are currently going for and what improvements were made to them to get them to sell at that price. So if you're in a house that has not had any major improvements in quite a number of years, your house won't be valued as much as the neighbor 2 doors down who put in a whole new bathroom or a whole new kitchen or a new roof or those kinds of things. So what we have to do is add up the costs involved for making those types of improvements and then add or subtract it to the cost of what your house would go for. So if the house down the street went for $600,000, but they put $150,000 into it, well, then the value of yours may only be $500,000 to $550,000, something like that. So you need to take that into consideration. You don't want to be the most improved house in the neighborhood by the time all is said and done. If your house doesn't have the bells and whistles that other ones do, then you can justify improvements, but don't become the most expensive house in the neighborhood, because then when buyers come in, they're not going to want the most expensive house. They're going to want the most affordable house. And if you have too many bells and whistles from things that you thought would look really cool, but yet the buyer doesn't want them, then that can be very much an issue. Then the fourth thing is, you need to know ahead of time, as you're thinking about everything, what restrictions your local zoning office has on what you can and cannot do. And if you're in an HOA, you'll need to check first to find out, what do you have to do to make the improvements. Most HOAs will have an architectural review board that will scrutinize your wish list if it's going to affect the exterior. And the county or city will have building codes and site plan restrictions and setbacks and other things that you have to conform to. So you need to be very sure about that before you even start. You may want to put an addition out the back, and you have to get permission if you're in an HOA before you do that, because they have to approve it. One of the reasons that you live in an HOA is so everybody looks similar and there's no weird stuff going on. So if your new plans don't fit into those guidelines, then yeah, you need to move, or you just need to live with it the way it is, and that may not be what's best for you. 5 is, you need to estimate the cost to do the renovations that you want. You need to figure out roughly how much each improvement will cost. Now, each improvement, for example, in a kitchen or bathroom, depends on what quality level of cabinets you choose, the hardware, the sink, the countertops, things like that. Remodeling Magazine publishes its yearly cost versus value, and that issue provides a guide as to so you can determine the various remodeling projects and what they cost in your area. It's divided up into sections of the country, so you can go Midwest, South, North, Western part of the country, and you can find out if you want to add a garage, how much is that going to get you on your return on your investment? If you want to make an improvement to putting in a new bathroom versus remodeling an old one, how much is that going to give you a return on your investment? Things like that are very helpful in getting a rough estimate for the ballpark. And then once you have your wish list down, so to speak, then you can start talking to contractors. But it helps to be realistic up front. 6, you need to then decide how are you going to pay for the renovation. You can refinance your existing mortgage if you have one. You can take a cash out mortgage, or you can obtain a home equity line of credit, which is a HELOC as the acronym. You can use personal savings. There are a number of options that are available to you, so you don't have to worry. Sometimes even the Area Agency on Aging and Medicare have funding for minor projects that you want to make improvements on. The 7th thing to think about is, I think, really important. Do you even like your neighborhood? Has it changed over the years? Are you saying, oh my gosh, remember when? And you go back 30 years and you remember what it used to be like, and now it doesn't look like that at all? Do you still have a lot of friends living nearby? Do you have easy access to your doctors and medical facilities? Well, if you like your neighborhood but don't like your home, then yeah, it's in your best interest to upgrade the house and remain there. But if you're not happy with your neighbors, or your neighborhood has changed and you just don't like what you're seeing coming down the road, maybe a lot of the older homes have been torn down and McMansions have been built to replace them, well, and that's it. Even if you remodel, it still won't make you comfortable. Then selling would definitely be an option, because you could sell it, use that money to buy in a location that is newer or has the amenities that you're looking for, and you save the hassle of having to go through construction. The 8th thing you want to remember is to run the numbers on the cost to sell your home. So you'll still have to complete some minor tasks like, painting and upgrading certain things to get your home ready to put on the market, and you will have other expenses too. So in addition to a realtor's commission, you'll have moving expenses, and you'll have to probably come up with a down payment on the next home, although there are programs out there where you don't have to put a down payment on your home. You can use your existing mortgage will be paid off at settlement, so the profit from the sale will also reflect that number. And a lot of times, most people, if they've paid off their home, they've paid off their mortgage over time, they use the proceeds to fund the purchase of their next property. So it's not an impossible challenge. Number 9, remember, it's an emotional decision no matter what you decide. So if you're moving, you'll be sorting through years of accumulated belongings and memories. And even if you stay and remodel, you still need to declutter in order for work to begin. And I work with a lot of hoarders and people who accumulate things, and that is probably the biggest challenge out there. And in my book, Move or Improve, the Baby Boomer's Guide to Housing Options and How to Choose What's Right for You, I put a 2-page chart, a flow chart, as to how to make those decisions, because it really is overwhelming. You didn't accumulate things in a week. You're not going to get rid of things in a week. Number 10, you want to be realistic about the cost. Many people make their list of what they want, and then they submit the list to the contractor for a bid. Then the project starts, and then you change your mind about something, and I really think I'd rather have this. Well, a change order, and that's called when you change something midstream, it can be costly because that delays the project. And if you have to order something special, like say you don't like a color on a tile or something like that, You have to stop and reorder the tile in the color you want, and then that takes time. A lot of tile is not in stock, so you have to wait for it to arrive. And so be sure you're happy with your choices up front as much as possible. Yes, there may always be one change order or two along the way, but be sure as much as possible that you're happy with what you're getting. And you should be prepared for surprises, especially on an older home. Plumbing lines may have to be dug up, or drywall was improperly hung. Instead of it being glued and screwed, a ceiling may have been nailed up, and the attic couldn't hold any installation until all the ceilings were removed and new drywall was installed that was glued and screwed. Things like that you don't really necessarily know. But it is a good idea to get a pre-listing home inspection, because a home inspection ahead of time will help you see hidden things that you didn't know you even had as an issue. And those issues then can be resolved when construction's going on. 11, the point of what kind of return, ROI, can you expect to get? Well, if you check again with Remodeling's Magazine Cost of Improvement Survey, cost versus value is what it's called. Some improvements will only bring a 50% return. Others will return 80 to 90% of your investment. But making those improvements will help you sell the house faster, because today's buyers want houses that are move-in ready. You need to stay in your newly renovated home from 5 to 7 years in order to reap any reward and make back the money that you put into it. The 12th item I want to mention is do not over improve. If your house is the largest in the neighborhood, you need to be extra careful about the projects you pay for. If the homes around you are smaller, you can't really expect to have your upgraded home get you more when you go to sell. Buyers are instructed by their realtors to purchase the lowest priced home in the neighborhood, not the biggest. 13th item is deciding to move. A move is very stressful, but you're starting over in a new place, in a new space. You have new neighbors, new home that meets many of your wish list requirements. So when you're making the list of items that you would like to improve in your own home, make a separate list that says, hey, if I was going to move, this is what I really want. For example, I'd really like to have an attached garage. I've never had one. My current home doesn't have that, and it's going to cost me $35,000, $40,000 to build a garage. So maybe that's something you want to look at. Deciding to move, yes, you still have to go through all your stuff, sort through it, but you don't want to pay a mover to haul stuff to a new location that you're never going to want to use again. So give it away now. It's better to do that. 14th item is, if you're trying to downsize, it really doesn't make sense to remodel unless your home is small and easy to retrofit to accommodate maybe a better bathroom for aging in place or other necessary features that you'll need as you grow older. If you decide to move, you need to declutter and carefully decide where you want to go. Do you want to stay in the area? Are you looking for lower taxes, a warmer climate? Check out the convenience of quality medical care and find doctors who are taking on new patients. Is walkability an important feature? How much cheaper is the cost of housing? Chances are you'll be able to afford more home for the money. And you want to check the cost of groceries and gasoline. If you need a part-time job, how available are they? What about arts and cultural offerings? Is there an airport relatively close by for friends and family to visit you and for you to be able to travel easily? 16th point, I advise clients visit another location for an extended time. Arizona in January is wonderful, but it's very different from Arizona in July. Same goes for Florida. And you need to decide whether you want an active adult community and its restrictions, or you want a condo, a single family home in its own neighborhood.